Hello and happy belated Precure Day. This is Jason, and today we're going to be talking about the premiere of Healing Good Pretty Cure or Healing Good Precure. I personally am glad to be able to watch Precure again because I ended up dropping Star Pre partway through, not through any fault of its own. I just fell behind on it, and then the group I was watching stopped translating it. So both those things kind of killed my desire to continue watching. I'll probably go back to Star Pre eventually, but for now, we're in the era of Healing Good, and with the new decade starting, I believe we're off to a good start. Now, personally, I feel like this episode is probably the most plot focused a debut episode has been in a while. Like, we got more details about what's going on than we've done previously. Normally, we just get the Cure introductions and the Mascot introductions, and we learn very little about the plot from the first episode. Usually, they say that for like episode 2 or 3, maybe. But this time around, they gave us the plot from the get go. Like, we got the plot before the opening even started. And bless. Another thing I really liked about this episode was how we got a lot of focus on the mascots this time. Normally, we don't really learn about the mascots until later, but this time we got focus on Raburine and the others, and so that itself was also pretty cool. Though personally, I am not a fan of Raburine, and I will get to that later. So, like I said, before the opening even started, we got a glimpse into the plot that we're having for this season. Like, the episode starts with Nodoka being introduced to her new city, moving in and everything, and then we cut to the healing garden where we learn about how it's dying, how there needs to be Precure to help it, all that good stuff. Personally speaking, I love the art style. Let me get that out of the way. The art style is chef's kiss. It is delicious. However, I still not much of a fan of the character designs. Like, Nodoka has grown on me somewhat, and she was always my favorite of the three Cures character designs, civilian wise, but I'm not really a fan of the civilian forms, to be honest. Nodoka is better this episode, seeing her in motion, but I still would prefer a different design, and it's not really even her her physical appearance that's messing me up. That's not the case for any of them. It's mostly their clothing that I don't really like. Like, I can kind of understand Hinata because that's on purpose, but even still, Hinata's hairstyle and Chiyu's hairstyle, along with their clothing, does not do anything for me. And Nodoka, I don't really like her hairstyle or clothing all that much either, but I liked it a lot better than the other two. Character designs also extend to the mascots, to be honest. I don't really like the way the mascots look this season. I mean, I didn't really like the mascots of other seasons as well, so that's not too surprising. Of the mascots, I guess I would say that the cat one, I'm sorry, I'm still learning names. I guess I would say that the cat one is my favorite of all the mascots so far. Like, he's very serious, but also very funny in his own way. Like, when he talked to Latte, I'm not calling her Latte, that's kind of dumb, but like when he talked to Latte and said, "Oh, we're normal animals," that was hilarious. Um, so after we see Nodoka move in, we also, like I said, we get that scene where we get the basic outline on how the Healing Garden is dying, yada yada yada. And then after that, we move into the opening. Now, the opening theme, I'm gonna need to listen to that a few more times because I've only listened to it the one time I watched the episode. But, excuse me, but I enjoyed the opening theme. It's gonna take a while for me to memorize it, but the visuals were great. I think my favorite visual, however, was that power walk. You know the one I'm talking about. When they're walking through like that desert or whatever, and you see all the flowers coming up behind them. I love that scene. I also loved seeing the girls dancing or whatever in the background. It's hard to explain, but the visuals were very good. So after the opening, we move into the episode in full. And most of the episode is most of the what I'll consider slice of life portion of this episode focused on Rabirine and the others looking for the Precure. Meanwhile, Nodoka was exploring the town, helping people, meeting people, and everything. We didn't really get to learn a lot about Chiyu and Hinata, but that's to be expected. I feel like we didn't really learn a lot about anybody that wasn't Rabirine and the Mascots and Nodoka, and more specifically, Rabirine and Nodoka were the ones who got the most focus, I believe. Um, and so we saw Nodoka help that old man when the monster was attacked. We saw other people fleeing and Nodoka rushing to help because she had heard about a dog being in danger and that dog being Latte, yada yada yada. It was good. It was a lot more plot focused than the usual slice of life, but to be fair, we're still at the beginning stages. I suspect once we hit, I believe the full team will be together in episode 4, if I'm remembering the spoilers correctly. So we probably won't be getting a lot of slice of life until a lot of actual slice of life stuff until maybe episode 5. We might get some next episode, but next episode seems to be the traditional Precure breakup episodes. You know, those episodes where the team splits, except there's not really a team at the moment. So that's not really much of a danger, you know. So after the the slice of life naturally leads into the fight scene, and the fight scene this episode was okay. It wasn't the best opening fight scene of a series. That one still goes to Go Princess's opening fight, in my opinion. Like, nothing has topped Flora versus Clovis first. I forget what those monsters were called, but nothing tops that first fight from Go Princess fight wise, in my opinion. However, the fight was still good. It had action and like I was hopeful because of the Miracle Leap trailers we've seen that there would be decent action this season. And while there wasn't much action, we did get to see a kick that is really reminiscent of Fresh. Like the kick that Grace landed reminded me a lot of all the kicks that Peach, Berry, Pine, and Passion would deliver back in Fresh, if you know what I mean, and if you remember all the punches and kicking going on in Fresh. And what was really nice was when she threw the monster. I don't remember what the monsters this season are called. I'll have to look that up. But that was a nice throw. We had a nice fight. Her attack, I can't really remember it all that well, but it was short, it was sweet. Hopefully, because the attacks seem to be so short, we might get more punches and kicks and hand to hand combat before, but that remains to be seen. The transformation, however, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, it reminded me a lot of the Yes 5 Go Go transformations, and I'm not really a fan of Yes 5 Go Go's transformations, if I'm being honest. To be honest, I don't really like the uniform design of Yes 5 Go Go, and so the transformation reminded me of that was a bit of a problem for me. However, I did like some of the transformation, namely when she appeared out of the flower and boom, it was it was a joy to watch. Um, so now that I've got so naturally with the episode over, there's the downtime, yada yada yada. She she expressed surprise, all that good stuff. And then we got the ending. Now, I also only listened to the ending the one time instead of multiple times. So I haven't memorized that one either, but I think I might like the ending more than the opening this year. I need to rewatch both the opening and the ending to determine either way. So now that we've discussed the episode, let's get into the characters, namely Ravirine and Nodoka. To be honest, I don't really like Ravirine. Like, I can understand why she's being so serious, but the way she's doing it is she's doing it all the wrong way. She's kind of a jerk, to be honest, and I know she's probably gonna grow out of it after next episode, but I don't really like the way she spoke to Nodoka or the other animals. Like only wanting a doctor, that wasn't cool, and talking down to the others the way she did, that also wasn't cool, and being bossy wasn't cool either. Hopefully Robert will grow out of that again, like, so that they can become actual partners. Like, think about the Doki Doki partners. You had Davi, who was basically Makoto's mom, but they still had a good bond. You had Charles, who basically looked up to Mana and was like a little sister to her. That was okay. You had Raquel, who was Raquel or Rachel, take your pick as to what his name is, who honestly, his relationship with Rika was a bit weird because most of the time he seemed to be like a sibling to her, but occasionally you got a little bit of romantic stuff, though not as much as with Ira and Rika, and then you had Lance, who was basically another little sibling to Rosetta. So hopefully Robin and Nodoka will become closer. Speaking of Nodoka, I really like her as a character, and she really surprised me. I was honestly expecting her to be one of a calmer pink, more like Tsubomi, like not shy, but I still expected her to be calm. But based on what we've seen, I think the fact that she seems to be sickly might explain it. Like, it sounds a lot to me like she didn't get to do much as a child, and this is like her first time out. And I'm also wondering if she might have asthma, because she talks a lot about not being able to run, and she's told not to go too far and not to move so fast. And I think it would be interesting if she had asthma, because personally I have asthma, so I feel like it would be a way for me to relate to her more as a character. And I'm also looking forward to seeing her grow and maybe mellow out a little bit more. But I don't really mind her excitement for now. Just I hope it doesn't last too long, because that might get a little bit annoying. It's hard to tell right now. Um, she's also, I'm also not sure what she's like as a leader, and we probably won't find that out for another 2 or 3 weeks, because she doesn't really have a team to lead right now. It's just her by herself. But hopefully she can be a decent leader. Like, I don't expect her to be on Nozomi's level, but to be honest, Nozomi Cure Dream is, in my opinion, the best leader we've ever had, and there are almost no cures that have come close to being as great of a leader as her. So hopefully Nodoka will be a good leader. Hopefully we get another leader in Nozomi's league, because I really want one. Like, I like the leaders we have, but none of them are as good as Nozomi to me so far, and I'm hoping Nodoka will be different. Um, so one last thing I wanted to talk about. So last week we started getting spoilers for the fourth cure, and I meant to make a video about it, but as you can see, I haven't done that. So I'm just gonna add that on to this one. I'm sorry that this video is so long. So about the fourth cure. So according to the spoilers, she is purple. Like, there are images of all the spirits, and the purple ones seem to be aligned with her, yada yada yada. And she also seems to be wind based, but the thing is, she's also called Cure Earth if the leaks from a few days ago are to be true, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. Now, personally, I think there are 3 options for Cure Earth. Okay, so there's the option of Latte being Cure Earth, like growing up since she's a puppy, growing up becoming a cure, getting her own human form, cause sure, we had Seirin as a fairy turned cure, but we've never really had a baby turned cure. Okay, outside of Felice, and to be honest, Felice being a cure was pretty obvious, and Felice wasn't really a baby for that long. So I could maybe see Latte growing up to become a cure. That's the first one. The second option I could see is them introducing a whole new character. Now, looking at the op, it's possible that that statue might become a new person and might become the new cure, but it's also possible that I know a lot of people are discarding that female villain from potentially being a cure, but honestly, it's been like, I want to say it's been like 5 years. It's definitely, actually, it has been. The last time we had a villain turn cure was back in Go Princess, because in Maho Girls we didn't have a villain turn cure. In Kita Automotive, there was no villain turn cure. In Hugdo, we didn't have a villain turn cure. And in Star Princess, we did not have a villain turn cure, unless you want to count Cosmo. And Cosmo isn't really a villain, at least in my opinion. So it's been a good 5 years since the last time we had a villain become a cure, and that used to be common. So what better time to bring a villain turn cure back than as the first Precure season of the new decade? So, but there's also a third option, and personally, this is the option I like the most, and the one that I would love if we got. So the villain this episode, I don't remember his name, but I know a lot of people have pointed out that he has earrings that are similar to that are really similar, and could imply that he might have a relationship to the cures and that he might be redeemed. And if that's the case, I would love it if we got him as our first official male cure as part of a team, because we've had a lot of setup for a male cure, but we haven't had one as part of the team. Like in Kira, we were introduced to the idea of male cures because we had Julio, who wanted to be a male cure, and he wasn't, and the show never said it was because he was a guy that he couldn't be a male cure. They didn't deny that. And then Hugto followed that up by actually giving us a male cure. We got Cure Infinity. But the thing about Cure Infinity is that he was a one-off. He only appeared in one, maybe two episodes, and he didn't really get to fight or do anything. So with all this, so I know it's really only 2 seasons within the past few years, but that's a decent amount of setup, and I think it would be really cool if we combined the idea of a villain turned cure and a male cure, and we made the villain from this episode into our first male cure. And think about it, there seems to be a rivalry between him and Grace, and between him and Nodoka, if we take scenes from the op into account. And I think it would be really cool if this villain, who was also a rival with our main cure, were to become a cure himself and also remained a rival with Nodoka after his redemption. I think that would be super interesting, would create an interesting relationship between Nodoka and Cure Earth, and I just think would be a really fun thing to do. The downside, however, is that the voice when they hacked Latte's toy to discover Cure Earth, the downside is the voice was very, very feminine. But at the same time, maybe they could be trying to throw us off if they decided to actually go the route and have him be a male Cure. I think that would be really cool. Like remember, okay, let's go back to Doki. In Doki, we all expected Regina to become a Cure. There was a lot of hints. There was a lot of hints towards it, like she was being redeemed. All the royal crystal. She was drawn to the royal crystals. Yada yada yada. And then she wasn't. We got Augury, who is great. I think that a misdirection would be interesting, especially if we got this dude as our first male Cure as part of the team. However, I don't really see that happening. It's just a wish of mine. And honestly, if Latte becomes the Cure, that's okay too. If we get a new character, as long as they don't come out of nowhere, I guess I would be fine with that. If that villain girl from the opening was also the new Cure, that would be fine too. Either way, just know that we're definitely getting a purple Cure, which honestly I would have preferred a different color, like maybe green, maybe, but especially since their name is Cure Earth, but I guess that's not happening because all the signs point to Cure Earth being purple. The only way I could really see Cure Earth being green is maybe if she was green and purple, but in that case, I think it would be interesting if they pulled a splash star on us and gave Grace a second Cure form. Because think about it, Grace is plant themed. Plants have to do with Earth. Cure Earth is plant themed. Okay, well, Cure Earth is wind themed, which is a really weird thing that I'm really interested in seeing what all that is about. But still, Cure Earth, Cure Grace, I think it would be cool if Cure Grace got a second Cure form. But at the same time, they would never do that because that wouldn't really be fair to Sparkle and Fontaine. So to be honest, there's basically zero chance of that happening, and most likely we're gonna get either Rate, that female villain from the op, or someone new as Cure Earth. I don't want that, but it's what's gonna happen. Now, I saw the preview, but it wasn't subbed in the episode I watched, but I do know what's gonna happen, and next time we deal with Nodoka and Robbie Rain fighting, and I just want to know how that gets resolved, because Robbie Rain has too many expectations so far, and I just want her to get better. Um, this video's getting pretty long. Thank you for watching it. Please like and subscribe if possible. Thank you and goodbye.